Okay, well, if Janet's not here, we'll just have to come in and get to. So if you just want to speak into this microphone.
Okay, hi, I'm Colin Crawford. I'm the Executive Director. It's nice to see you all, and I look forward to working with all of you, as I know we all do in the 2 years. By way of background, I work primarily in Latin America, although the Payson Center does not work primarily in Latin America. And I work mostly on questions of urbanization and environmental questions, but with a focus on urban areas, if that's of use. The Payson Center really was a leader of this type of development studies center. Now you find development studies.
You just responded. She's actually in Chile. Can you call her?
Sure.
She wants to go back in. You can watch. And she said she can. I can see.
We're sorry, your call cannot be completed at this time.
Did you dial 011?
011. That's weird. So 011. Yeah.
562. Please check the number.
Do you need your code? Yes, one. Oh, that's what you're about. Okay, 011.
We're sorry, your call cannot be.
Okay, last try. But you can't see what she's saying. 9, 6, 7, 5, 9, 8.
We're sorry, your call cannot be completed at this time.
No, tell her the number is not good. Okay.
Hello? Sounds like someone's there.
Not on here. This is all. No, there's nobody here. If there was, we'd see it.
Okay, the Payson Center was a real leader in offering this kind of program. There were not similar such programs at most U.S. universities, if any, at the time that we were created in 1996, excuse me. We were started actually because another university in the Washington, D.C. area, well-known university, had been asked to do some training programs for U.S. Agency for International Development mid-level managers on development theory. And they were not, the U.S. Agency wasn't happy with what they were getting from this university, and they came to Payson's former executive director, who before that had been president of the university, and also Dr. Bill Bertrand, the other co-founder, and asked them to take over these training courses. And in pretty short order, they turned it into a master's program, and then later we had a doctoral program, and then about 5 years ago started an undergraduate program as well. So we now have over 300 students, 225 undergraduates, and then a mixture of MS and PhD students. It's a pretty sizable cohort, spread out all over the world, since, as you know, you don't have to be resident here all of the time to do our degrees. So that's just by way of background. We also started with a strong applied development focus. So the focus from the very start was not to just be an academic center, but really to run programs. And so Payson has had grant-funded and contract-funded activity on 3 continents for about as long as it's existed, or 4 continents, sorry. This one, mostly in the New Orleans area, and some in Central America and Northern South America, especially Colombia, and largely in Sub-Saharan Africa for the past almost 20 years. And that's partly because most of the grant-funded money coming out, or activity coming out of the U.S. government since 1996 was related, broadly speaking, to HIV and AIDS prevention efforts, and again, broadly speaking. So that was all kinds of community involvement, and most of that money from the government and government agencies and private donors was going to sub-Saharan Africa, which accounts for our strong presence there. Although we've expanded, we have a very robust project now led by Dr. Bertrand with Doctors Hernandez and DeBure, work with him, especially Dr. DeBure, for example, funded by the U.S. Department of Labor on child labor in the cocoa sector. So there's really a broad range of activity, and I really encourage you to seek people out and try and find out the different things that people do. And one of the things we try and do when we have new activities is to involve students when there is a good match. Kathy Hamler, for example, is working on some of Dr. Bertrand's projects, both in Colombia and some in Africa now, as well as Nigeria, for AUN, or the American University of Nigeria, in the most dangerous part of Nigeria, it might be added. So that's what I have to say, but it's a great pleasure to see you all, and we all do our best to come to a relatively small unit, so to come to social events as well as the academic activities. And I will only conclude by saying, if you have particular things, speakers or things you'd like to see happen, we're going to be more responsive in scheduling those to what students want rather than suggesting them. So if you have things you want to see happen, please come to us. We've been doing a lot of programming, and we're going to come back and wait for people to come tell us what they want instead of our getting the people and hoping that you show up. Okay, so that's what I have to say about it. And I will start the activity bias, and when people also introduce themselves, what have I done that no one else has done? I've eaten earthworm tacos. Earthworm tacos.
Oh, we have an iceberg.
Where was that?
Tijuana.
Oh.
At a very famous insect restaurant.
Oh.
They only
Thank
served.
you.
They only served insects. No, they were disgusting.
Oh, good.
But I ate it. I ate all of it.
You can eat them
The ante salsa, however, was dynamite.
Ante salsa. Okay. I still pass though.
That was really good. The ante, high in protein.
Speaking before I forget, your friend sold tapas vega. They had this article in paper.
Oh, really?
Somebody else bought it. So anyway, before I forgot that.
Hi, I'm Sheila Joy, and I'm the instructional technology specialist. And as you can see, I can't always get everything to work right. I'm hoping that Laura can hear me all right. And that now, because with her speakers, but keep chatting and maybe we'll figure it out. We are recording this. And so you can watch it later. I think she's in. So I do an ice-breaking activity. But if we're going with gross foods, maybe that's just one we'll do. I was married to a man from Cote d'Ivoire for about 6 years and lived in like the diaspora of the Cote d'Ivoire in New York. And his mother was really good about bringing in food through customs. I don't know how she did it, but she brought something called agouti, which is an incredibly large rodent. It's similar to nutria like we have here. Dr. Hernandez and Dr. Bertrand talk about that there could be a really good cross-trade between nutria and agouti lovers on those two continents. And in my like 95-degree apartment in Brooklyn, she cooked this agouti, which is like a really large, like a nutria or bigger than a rat, and it was smoked. And they gave me the head, which was very nice. And everybody was very jealous. They wanted to eat it. And I tried not to vomit. And I'm very adventurous with food, and you can get insects here at the Insectarium in downtown. So if you want to, maybe not earthworm. I had a few things, kind of Cajun style, which were pretty good. So maybe any agouti eaters? You possibly. Never had agouti?
No way.
Yeah, it's pretty strong. Pretty strong. Okay.
My name's Sydney Gray. I'm not an adventurous eater at all. So I would say that activity I've done that no one else here has done. I was actually a cowgirl on a dude ranch for a summer in undergrad when I didn't have anything better to do. So.
Where?
Upstate New York at a ranch called R&R Dude Ranch. It's about an hour below Buffalo.
Oh, no.
Sounds like fun.
Dude Ranch in Buffalo.
It was.
Yeah, I didn't find that.
Oh.
So I guess it's my turn. I don't have any really exciting things to share with you. The only thing that I can tell, my name is Dr. Slow, that might be important. I teach here, and I've been teaching here for 10 years now. I teach some of the core courses at Payson, so you will have to pay me as your instructor, unfortunately for you. Originally from France, and I don't know, I think the only thing maybe that I have done that you have not done is something that you probably don't even know even existed. I used to be a Sovietologist, and that means that I was an expert in the Soviet Union, which doesn't exist anymore. So I had to change hats and came here eventually, and I'm teaching international development.
Hi everyone, my name is Jana Lopez. I'm from Miami. The activity that I've done that no one else here has done is be late to this orientation. I'm still running on Miami time, so I'm sorry about that.
And trying to find.
But that would mean that you would have. That's
really
not a good
early.
excuse because then you would have been really early. Because in Miami's an hour ahead of us.
Yeah. I'm actually still early, so I'm working on it.
My name's Adelia DeMarsco, and I'm from South Florida, maybe about an hour north of where Janet's from. I've eaten something funky, but I'll skip the eating thing. In high school, I was the only female wrestler on the high school wrestling.
Wow.
Don't mess with you.
I know.
Useful information.
Yeah.
My name is Rebecca. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, but I've lived here for almost 3 years now. Something that I've done, some of you might know this if we're in the same class, but I swim with great white sharks in Shark Alley off the coast of South Africa.
You mean you
And
chose to do that?
It was cage diving.
Oh, okay.
So I was in a cage. It wasn't like.
Yeah.
And
Just out there
when you
free.
say swim with them, you like move along the current with them?
You're in a cage and they chum the water and they have like big fish heads
They
like
actually
this
chum.
big that they throw into the water on a rope. And it attracts the sharks, and then they pull the sharks closer to the boat, and they're like in the cage underwater. There's a lookout, and I'll say, down, down, and you go to the bottom of the cage, and then there's just sharks.
And they're like hitting the cage?
They hit the cage a couple of times.
That's like my dream. I need some
Oh
too.
my gosh, I love
Oh
sharks.
gosh,
You
not
don't
good.
want to talk about sharks.
My name's Katya. I love sharks too. I've actually been collecting them since I was 11 or 12. I have a room full of stuffed sharks. I love your story. I'm a PhD student here. I'm now in my 4th year. Am I?
Oh, we're figuring it out.
Oh, God.
I can't keep track.
My dissertation is in Columbia, as Professor Crawford said. And I'm also with PhDSA, which I will be talking about later, which is our graduate student association. I think my most random food story was in Australia. There are those, like in the tropical area, there are those little ants with a green butt, lemon lime or something like that. If you pick them up and lick the butt, you have a little lemon taste in your mouth, so you can go to the forest and just pick them up and put them back again.
Was that
And nobody dies.
And do they get their flavor back
Consensual,
after you
yeah,
licked it off? Okay.
Aborigines in Australia eat big white grubs.
Okay.
You've
I've
had
not done
in
that.
Australia?
Yeah, that was going to be mine.
Well, you
Well,
can
you
take
still
that.
is.
It still is.
I'm Sheila Favalora for those who we haven't met in person. So, and just welcome. I don't do the crazy food stuff. I'm not done. So, what I've done is no one else has done. I've been here the longest of anybody around. I'm starting my 44th year in a couple weeks, and I lived through Katrina.
My name is Jack Peterson. I work with Sheila here at Payson. I guess, yeah, I've eaten the grubs in the outback in Australia, along with some very delicious camel. Camel was really good. So, camel and grubs.
Camel in Australia? Or camel? I didn't know they had Australia.
Yeah, I didn't either.
They had a
Would they
bunch of
bring 'em
camel
in?
right in the middle of the outback.
Interesting.
One of the
And
greatest movies imports camels.
I remember the guide said the good camels go on the wall. Like, they had a wall with a bunch of camel pictures, and the bad camels go in this bowl.
Oh,
So, passed it out.
Okay. Well, I know you have to leave shortly.
No, I'm okay.
Oh, okay. Well, my little spiel.
So the
Okay.
microphone picks you
I'm
up.
going to go over
sorry,
the
I made him knock that
academics
over.
and the regulations. Are we good?
Mhm.
Okay. I know I've talked to all of you, but still we want to go over, and all the information that we're providing and we're talking about today is on this jump drive. But we still want to go over a few things so that no one has any questions. As far as the MS requirements, we have no joint JD, so I'm not going to discuss that right now. The only thing difference in that is they have a few less electives to do. But for the MS, it's 36 credit hours, which consist of the 18 credit hours of the core curriculum, which I just gave you. And then we'd like to point out for you to look at those because some of the courses are offered in specific semesters, so you want to make sure you stay on track to take those courses in that semester. As far as the 18 credit hours of electives, we, of course, offer electives within the Payson Center, but there are electives in other departments that you are free to take. The courses have to be graduate level courses. They have to be related to international development. We are familiar with many of the courses, but if we're not, then you would need to provide us with a syllabus, and Professor Sloan, Professor Crawford can approve those for taking something outside of Payson. Mm-hmm.
If we take an elective outside of Payson, do we still pay the same amount?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. You can take courses in most graduate programs other than the professional schools, even though we're a member of the law school, we're part of the law school, unless it is a cross-listed course, which is usually Professor Crawford's and maybe one other. You cannot take courses in law without really going through a special approval process, but you definitely cannot take courses in School of Medicine. And business is pretty tight on as to them allowing students. But as Adelia requested, if you do take courses, a student is charged their home tuition no matter which course they take. Okay. Again, as Professor Crawford mentioned earlier when he was in the welcome, you must complete 50% of the program, what we consider live, which is that consists of doing the courses on campus and or in our summer institutes abroad. Those courses, because they're taught by our faculty face-to-face, those fulfill residency. The summer institutes, we already have the information posted on our website, but I did bring this. The deadline for applying, if anyone is interested, is going to be March 18th. We're offering programs in Panama, Myanmar, Nepal, Ethiopia, and Rome. We have academic guidelines and rules that you must abide by. We have a graduate handbook on the website if you've not already looked at it, and it's also on that jump drive. You should familiarize yourself with our rules and regulations, but very quickly to summarize, 3.0 or better GPA is required in the program to be in good standing. Grades of B- or below. B-, you will get a warning letter that you've received a grade of B- or below, and in such and such. You will still get credit for it, but you will be also told that you should not get any more grades of B- or below. C or below, you receive no credit for the course. So if you get a C in a core course, you will have to repeat that course. Same thing with an elective. You can either repeat that elective or you will have to take another elective. And then depending on the grade, D or F, you will be placed on academic, and even with a C, academic probation. And 9 credit hours is considered full-time in our program. Once you, if you enroll to qualify, let me skip it. Anything below that is part-time. To qualify for financial aid, you must be registered for at least 6 credit hours. If you want health insurance, you have the option of purchasing it. But if you're registered for 9 credit hours, you are automatically charged for the health insurance unless you can provide proof of outside insurance. And finally, not finally, but we have, you can possibly transfer in up to 12 credit hours of graduate level work completed at an accredited university. And once again, those courses have to be graduate level courses with grades of B or better from an accredited institution. And you cannot transfer any credits until you complete 1 semester in the program. We also have, I'm sure you've looked at it and some of you may be interested, our Panama program, which is the Panama Fieldwork Experience. And you have the option of going to Panama for 1 semester or a year. And while in Panama, you have a guaranteed internship with the UN agency. And that's pretty much my spiel on it. Do y'all have any questions about anything? Let me just go back to this. Because Payson, the tuition is a special tuition, I work with the registrar to make sure all of our students are coded correctly so that you're charged the $7.50 per credit hour rate. But if for some reason you get charged regular tuition, just come to me and let me know. I am your problem solver. So if you have any issues, any problems, just let me know. And once again, and Dr. Sloan will reiterate that too, please keep us informed if you're having problems. We can't help students overcome issues or problems if we don't know about it. We have some students wait till the very last minute or the end of the semester and said, this was happening, I couldn't do that. Well, if you don't let us know ahead of time, we can't help you. So please keep us informed, okay? And welcome again. It's a pleasure. I've been working with all of you. Dr. Sloan.
Should I?
You want to come down here? I'll move.
We're recording, so for those who aren't able to join.
Musical chair.
Yeah.
Right. So hello everyone. So I already sort of introduced myself. I'm also the graduate advisor for master's and PhD students. So what that means is that you can come to me. You can of course go to Sheila. You can also come to me if you have questions about coursework, about balancing your workload and things like that. And what I'm going to do within about a month, so that will be probably the week after Mardi Gras, which if you're not from here, you will learn about very quickly. I will send an email to all of the master students, and you will be able to set up an appointment with me for a one-on-one meeting. So that meeting will take about half an hour. You can bring up whatever you want, but what I'm asking from you is to fill out a short report that I will be sending out to you, and we will be discussing how you're doing after about a month at Payson. And that's why I'm waiting a little bit. I don't want to do that too soon, and you have a lot on your plate anyway, as it is. So we will be discussing your workload, any issues you may have, and also we will be discussing your future courses for following semesters, ideas that you may have, mini courses or some institutes that you may want to register for, but you're not quite sure. So we can talk about all of that. And so really the coursework workload will be probably our first topic. But also what I'd like us to do is establish a relationship. And so that, just as Sheila just said, if you have any issue, even if you think that it's not something worth bringing up, it usually is something to bring up. And the later you wait, the more you wait, the harder it is to resolve. So I don't think it's too much to repeat this, several times. Come to us as soon as you have even a question. And it doesn't have to be a meeting. You could just email us or contact us. The other thing we will be discussing in these meetings are opportunities for work. So either work study, internships, volunteer work, research assistantship, etc. There are a number of opportunities that are available through Payson itself. We have a number of students who work right here at the Payson Center. And most of those opportunities are announced on the website. So do go on the website often. And Sheila's right here. I'm sure she will concur that it's really important to, check the website often. You will get emails. You will get the newsletter from the Payson Center. But you also need to be proactive in seeking the information yourself. And then we will also be discussing your summer activities, whether you will be doing an internship somewhere, work, take classes with us or elsewhere. And the idea is for you to sort of have a plan. You know, you're starting on this degree, and we really want you to know where you're going. You know, have kind of a roadmap, and the roadmap will change. But we're happy to, give any advice possible for these matters. Sheila mentioned the Summer Institute, and you can, go online to know more about them. One thing that I'd like to talk a little bit more about are the mini courses. We have about 6 or 7 offered this semester. One is actually starting today, and it's a 2-week or 3-week 2-credit course on urban change, and it's being taught by a Brazilian legal expert. He's really an expert in urban environment and environmental law. We're really, really lucky to have him here. He normally is based in the UK. And so this is the kind of opportunity that you can get through these many courses. We have visiting faculty or visiting professors from other institutions who will be here and share their knowledge with you. And so I would definitely look at the list of many courses. I assume for Dr. Fernandez's course, it's probably too late to register, right?
I don't know that he had any more room.
Okay. But you have a series of other courses, series on microfinance, microenterprise courses. There are 4 of them. You don't have to take all 4 of them. 1, 2, 1 credit courses that are being taught by affiliate faculty of ours. His name is Dr. Carter Garber, and he is not only faculty, he's also a practitioner. So he's actually founded a number of microfinance enterprises, mostly in Central America, so Nicaragua, Guatemala, and so he shares his experience. His course is very much based on his experience, so it's very practically oriented. And then the other series of mini courses have to do with disaster resilience. And those will be taught, first of all, by one of our co-founders, Dr. Bertrand, that Professor Crawford mentioned earlier, who has long experience in international development and disaster relief all over the world, really. And then the co-faculty is a recent graduate of Payson. He just graduated this past December, Corey Aid. He had several hats. He was a graduate student here, but he was also a director of disaster relief, and he still is at the American Red Cross in DC. So not only he has the experience, but he's currently working on such matters in the U.S. And he, the other thing that you can get through these many courses is connections, obviously, and that I'm sure is something that you're very interested in. It's not too early to make connections. Your first semester here. I obviously do not know what way you want to go, and maybe you don't know either. But it's not too early to form these relationships. So many courses are a good way of doing it. Electives are a good way of doing it as well. You will see a whole list of possible electives on the Payson website. But as Sheila said, there are many more, on the Tulane campus. And this, the topic might be of interest to you, but it could also be, again, establishing these relationships in the field that you think you're going to go into. So all of that is quite important.
Dr. Sunday,
sure.
Just about the mini courses. If some of you or any of you are registered already full time and you are interested in the mini courses, we can allow you permission to take more than the 9 credit hours if it's for mini courses. But we usually frown upon our students taking 12 credit hours of regular coursework because the coursework's intensive. So,
and that's right. And that is one of the advantages
right.
of the mini courses. If you want to shorten your program and you're really an efficient worker and you're not worried about taking on too much, which might be careful about in your first semester, then that's something that could be very interesting for you. It's great also for distance students because, as Sheila mentioned, you do have that 50% live requirement. So they will come, or maybe you, if you become distance students, you can come here for the weekend and get 1 credit out of the way. You have a question?
Kind of like you said, about being your first semester, just kind of, easing into things, not just being up and out of school for a while. I'm only part-time, taking 6 credit hours and have to work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What's the latest time we can sign up for these courses? Only because I'm still hesitant to sign up now, just because I just kind of want to see how things pan out. So am I able to sign up if there are openings later on, or is it only now, like during drop ads at the only time?
I think it goes to the 25th or something. There's look, on the registrar's website, there is academic calendars.
It's only the drop ad, that's it.
But if there's, for the mini courses, if you're looking at one in April and they're still run, yes,
like that.
we can add you, and then you can't do it. After the ad drop period's over, if any changes come about, you have to do it through me with a paper drop ad form. But yes, if they're still run, you can still get it.
Okay, thank you.
And another thing I wanted to add about the courses. So you've already made your choices for this semester, and supposedly everything will be fine. But again, if after a week or two you think, oh no, what did I do? These 2 courses are way too much. I should not have taken the 2 of them together. You need to act on that right away because again, there's the ad drop deadline. There are types of courses that you do not want to miss before you take others. And we make that pretty simple by having prerequisites. So for example, a course I teach in the fall is International Political and Economic Relations. In order to take that one, you need to have taken Introduction to Economic Analysis. Okay, that's pretty clear. Now, for those of you who've studied economics before, you could very well take the 2 together. That's always possible. And the same with the course that I teach in the spring, which is Development Theories and Strategies. It's better to have taken IPER before that, but it kind of depends on your own background and how comfortable you are. So these are all things that we can discuss. I was talking before about positions and opportunities for work. One thing that we are working on, Sheila and a few others, both Sheilas actually, and a few others in our team, is an expanded version of our career resources on the Payson website. So along the years, I've been keeping a list of organizations, NGOs, and various places where IDEF students may find work. So I've been keeping this list. It's grown a lot. It's about 15 pages now, with links and all of that. So that eventually will be available on the Payson website. But then in the meantime, I can provide it to you, and we can discuss ideas that you may have for your own future. And you will be receiving soon a request to fill out a survey, right, Sheila, for the Payson website career services. So be on the lookout for that. It's a short survey. It will take 5 minutes or so. So we're really trying to, help our students to see where they're going, and then, try to accomplish as much as possible in terms of making these connections. One of the advantages of having this expanded career services on the website will be to connect with alumni, Payson alumni, former and current partners that we have in various projects, etc. So this is, something that is getting ripe, I would say, right now. So mini courses I've talked about. I think I will probably let Kathy talk about the activities of PGSA. And then I'll add.
That comes a little bit later.
A bit later?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But I have a couple more things that I just wanted to just make you aware of. You have all taken care of your health record because you had to before you could register, and I know some of it was a nightmare for you. If you have not already done so, you can go to the card services office and get your student ID. I spoke to you about the health insurance. One thing I wanted to say is that because we charge no fees, as you know, by not paying fees, you do not have automatic enrollment in the Student Health Center and the Student Recreation Center. If you want to belong to both of those, you must purchase the membership on your own. And quite honestly, it's cheaper to do it on your own than it is if we charge fees. And the reason we don't charge fees is the university did not let us pick and choose who could be charged fees, because we didn't want our distance-based students to be paying for fees for things they didn't get to use. So they said, no, you either charge all of them fees or no one fees. So we did no one. But it's not that expensive for the Student Health Center. What the Student Health Center is they have doctors and nurses and a pharmacy there. If you get sick and you want to go see a doctor, if you are a member of it, then it doesn't cost you. You can go for the first time. You'll have to pay for an office visit, but then they would make you buy a membership after that. That is totally different from the student health insurance. That's just to go see like a doctor or something like that. And parking, I know one of you wrote to me about trying to park on campus. I mean, that's a joke, as y'all have most probably already seen. You would have to buy a permit, and all that is a license to hunt. And I think for the students, you may be only able to park in the garage, and so it's really not worth it. And for those of you who do have a car, you want to park in Uptown Square. If you haven't been there yet for any of the classes, we do have Dr. Sloan and Dr. DeBure have their classes up there because they're offered in a 2.5-hour block. Uptown Square is at the end of Broadway and the river, and you can park in there for free, and there's a university shuttle that brings you up to this campus, to the downtown campus, to the housing, to the apartment. So that's something you want to take advantage of. I'm sorry?
How does the shuttle come?
Pretty often.
It's 3. It's like
there's different lines.
It's every 20 minutes. So if you're coming up, it's like 11 o'clock, 11:20, 11:40. On the Facebook page, I just put the
I was going to say,
up.
we have you can go, and even onto the university transportation site, you can get the shuttle lines. And I know that shuttle runs out to like Walmart and other places. It takes students shopping. So do look into that.
By any chance to the Elmore campus?
Yeah, there's
It does?
gray line. You can find it on
I live right next to it.
Yeah.
Oh, do you in those apartments out there? Oh, good.
Yeah.
There you go. But you are going to need your ID.
Okay.
So they check IDs.
I want to just add something to the parking. Do not park on red, even if you don't see a sign, because they come to like on a regular basis.
Right.
Yeah.
Ferret's a no-no. And the 2-hour signs in the neighborhoods, pay attention to
It's
them.
very bad sign. Like,
Yeah, you think it's fine, but
Yeah.
then it's like the
Right.
sign fell. Something.
And just for everybody, point at the camera and smile because Laura can hear us.
Oh,
and she's
hi,
with
Laura.
us. Laura! Woo! She restarted her computer.
Oh, super. Hi, Laura. I'm Sheila. I said, Laura, it's Valentina.
Laura Valentina Laura.
Yeah, Valentina Laura.
Ah, sorry. I was saying Laura. Okay.
All right. I think you're up, Sheila.
Okay. Gonna. Oops, see.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't answer that. That's what I was going to say.
Okay. There's a lot for me to cover, and I'm really, since there's only a few of you that are on campus starting, we can definitely have a one-on-one meeting. My email address is sjoy@tulane.edu, so that'll move things along. You can see that because we have this blend of distance and face-to-face students, we try to find opportunities for us to come together, like we're using GoToMeeting. It's not 100%. That was pretty, but we try. And a lot of times it really is dependent on the fact if somebody else, where I can't troubleshoot everybody's computer anywhere in the world, but we try. So GoToMeeting, the platform that we're using presently, you might be using in one of your classes that you're taking distance-based, or to bring in distance-based to your face-to-face class. Also, Blackboard is our learning management system. It's at mytulane.blackboard.com. And on our website, I'm going to actually start sharing my desktop here So I can kind of move around and do some demonstrations here. And I can tell that the university's having a little broadband pain. I'm just, because it just keeps popping in and out a little bit. Okay, come on. Okay.
Janet, you can move in that other seat if you want. I don't know.
Come on.
That's what I said, we don't have a good-
As soon as you walk into information desk, there's an information desk.
Okay. Are you talking about getting your computers connected to the network,
No, but that would
et
be good
cetera?
to know too.
Okay. So on our website, there's a tab that says current students. Okay. There's a lot of the resources that I'm going to be talking about right now. You'll find here in a list. As well as on this page are policies and procedures. Our learning management system is Blackboard, and that's mytulane.blackboard.com. And most likely you've already gotten a few emails from your instructors. Has everybody gotten in there and kind of walked around? Okay. It is also possible to meet virtually within Blackboard using a product called Blackboard Collaborate. So GoToMeeting might be something in your future, or Blackboard Collaborate, or both, but they kind of follow on the same principles. I just recommend, especially because most of you may not be here next, and tend to go to Panama, et cetera. This is $29. It's a USB headset made by Logitech. If you are going to be getting into distance education, this is a terrific investment, okay? Just because it works, you're going to hear better and kind of be heard better, et cetera. It's a good investment. It'll also help you in your Skype life as well. So it's a Logitech USB headset. Okay, we have technology services. Okay, I'm a liaison to technology services. I'm not university technology services, but I can certainly, point people in the right direction. But if you have issues with connectivity, with registration on classes, etc., you always want to work with technology services. And they're at tulane.edu/tsweb. Okay. There is a Get Help area on their website, and you can go ahead and enter a ticket, for things you're looking for, etc., or you can call, and all that information is there. They actually refer to their help center here as the TSNOC, which is like Tulane Technology Services Network Operations Center. I know everybody else in the world likes to call that a help desk. But just so if you're hearing people referring to TSNOC or something like that, that's what it is. And you can go ahead and order things, etc. You can enter a ticket if something is broken. Okay. Tulane Technology Services has come up with a new student handbook. And they also have a knowledge base. There's this information technology guide for new students right here on our current page. This will tell you where you have support on campus as well. Okay, so have all of you, we have a student center called the Lavin Burnick Student Center. Okay, it's up, if you're walking from our quad, you're walking towards Ferret, crossing Ferret on McAllister, and it's like 2 buildings up. They have a computer store there called Technology Connection, and you can buy hardware at academic discounts. If you purchase hardware from the university, like you purchase a Mac or a PC, you'll get service included in that. So if you have any problems, you can hand it to the genius behind the Genius Bar and he will fix it for you. If you didn't purchase your hardware from the university, you can pay one of those geniuses to help you. But there's not a plethora of geeks who are there to help you with every problem that might happen on your hardware for free. You know what I mean? Co-opt a geek. Kind of like, well, I've got this thing and I don't know what it is. You're going to have to pay an hourly rate to, troubleshoot if your computer has been eaten alive by a Trojan or something like that, that's going to be necessary. It's also possible on campus here so this is where it's talking about software and hardware. Technology Connection is that location where you can, check it out and you can, if you've got a little student loan money left over and you want to make a purchase because you're going to need something stronger to get you through the next 2 years. We also have something called eAcademy. eAcademy allows you to purchase software at university prices. Okay, certain things are free. Most importantly, McAfee is free, which is an antivirus solution. I just got an email that they're going to go with a new, but for now, because you connect to the Tulane network, we want to make sure that your computer is safe as it connects to the network. So when you go into eAcademy, you can take a look and see what's available for students. So you can get a cheaper price of Microsoft Office, everything. You can certainly get McAfee for free. They're always adding new things, so take a look. And you always authenticate to everything with your almighty Tulane password. So when you guys you probably got a message to set up, and hopefully you answered some security questions. So whenever, everything always goes back to that Tulane password. And if you set up security questions, you should be able to change it if you forget it. But hopefully at this point, you're going to be entering it every other minute as you get into Blackboard, as you get into eAcademy, as you get into Outlook, etc. But if you want to change it, you can go to passwords.tulane.edu, and that's where you manage that. But that university password is so important, you can't really get anywhere kind of without it. So these are just kind of getting around within the university technology environment, okay? The help desk is not 24/7, it's 5 days a week. And they're like during school hours, okay? Now, as far as kind of what we like at the Payson Center, some of you over holiday have received a few emails asking about your bio for our website. Sydney, I know you filled it out. That kind of ties in with what Dr. Sloan was talking about with kind of immediately hitting the ground running and starting to build a network with other Paysonites and within the community. I know, you're just starting, and it's something that, if you kind of make it, it'll grow as you continue to be here. So it might just be where you went to school and your name and a little bio, like you just, tell us something you did different than anyone else. Sharks, great. What are you interested in? So again, you can log into our website with that same almighty Tulane password, and you'll see. I really encourage you guys, if you have problems with this, come and talk to me about it. Sometimes it just goes into the ether. I know people have lots of different feelings. Let's talk about it. Elisa will know what your feelings are and how to manage it. And I'm more than happy, or one of the interns that I work with, to help you build a bio for yourselves. Okay. And Debbie and I don't feel good about opting in now, but maybe in the future, blah, blah, blah. But because otherwise what happens is I become the nag of Payson, and every time we're at a party, I'm like, have you done a people bio? And it's really, I hate people crossing the road when they see me come by, etc. So I know, oh, she wants something from me. But we do offer, we do have projects, and we need to know what languages people speak and, what you're interested in. And, it just lets us get an idea of how we can extend your experience here. And so that's something I don't want to take you through step by step. but we do encourage you, and it offers. We're offering you a website where you can blog about your experiences, where you can get a little bit of your street cred out there in the development world. You don't have to set up a WordPress site all by yourself and figure out. That's a lot of work. And here you can just with a click kind of start blogging about your interest, your experience. If you take one of these 1-credit mini classes and you have an aha moment about microfinancing and it's the direction that your life wants to take, I'm sure because you guys have been looking at our site as you were determining if you wanted to come to Payson, I think looking at people's bios, reading their blogs, probably all of that was pretty impactful for your making your decision to come here. And so that's why we keep encouraging people to reach out and come to know one another in that way. So let me come on back to our presentation. Make sure
Invitation to connect on Facebook.
Facebook and the rest of it. Okay, let me just bring that on back up. Hopefully you're on our social media sites already. I know some of you are, but we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're in LinkedIn. We have a LinkedIn group. All of those are there's icons, follow us icons on the bottom of our site.
Excuse us, ignore that date up in there. That didn't get changed from last time.
Which one?
That was
the
hands-on
hands-on session. Yeah, I'm sorry.
But as Sheila told you can
in this case
connect with her individually.
Yeah, and if I don't hear from you in about 2 weeks, I'm going to reach out, or one of my interns are going to reach out. Okay, we're just going to figure it out. I'm here in the Payson Center, so if you walk in this front door, and I'll be behind the glass, the sneeze guard, in one of those 2 areas.
Everybody is up here with the exception of Doctors Kelly and Bertrand. They have offices up in Uptown Square. All the other faculty and staff are located up here.
And then we also have this computer lab, which is right before you walk into Suite 300. It has, excuse me, it has all of Microsoft Office installed, et cetera. But what it also has is a very expensive piece of software on it called ArcGIS. And if any of you are taking GIS with Dr. Nathan Morrow, that's where you're going to be spending a lot of time in that room, kind of working on your shape files and making maps. And I'm going to see, I did put in a ticket, we got a university license for Adobe Creative Suite. So those really expensive Photoshop, Illustrator, Muse, etc. I put in a ticket, but it's on my bucket list of things to get installed in there as well. So if any of you guys want to create those things. No, SPSS is not, because the decision was for students to purchase it like a textbook and actually download it on their own computers. So for those of you who are taking class with Dr. Elke de Boer, is it Quant?
Yeah, it's in the fall.
It's in the fall.
Yeah. There's a software you'll have to
There's a software that you buy through eAcademy. So rather than buying a textbook, you're buying software, and it's a license.
Quantitative analysis.
It's a 6-month license because it's also an incredibly expensive software in the thousands. But you'll buy for your computer, you'll buy a technology priced subscription that'll last for like 6 months or a year. It's your choice. Q&A.
Anybody have any questions so far? And now we're going to take a 5-minute break. There's water, soft drinks, and ladies' room is on the 2nd floor. Go down these stairs, go to your left. We'll start back in 5 minutes. Let me just tell y'all now, we were going to end the session with Dr. Julie Hernandez does her spiel on New Orleans. It's really great, but unfortunately, she's stranded in France and
waiting for a visa.
So she said she would be more than happy on another occasion to set up if anyone's interested in just hearing about New Orleans, the history of it, the various neighborhoods. So
I think she has an actual plan of doing a little tour with you guys.
Yeah.
Such a small group.
So
and she's great. I mean,
yeah. So either she or I will be in touch with you about doing that, but we won't have that today. So once we come back and we do just kind of general things about the university and PGSA. That'll be ending it for today. Okay. Anybody want something to drink?
Yeah, and I made a pot of coffee, if anybody is.
Was that the beef?
That was the beef. Sorry?
Can I bring up a campus map on this?
Well, you're gonna share your desktop, so if you do a command tab and then come to the browser. Do you want that?
Which one?
Well, where do you want it? You wanna just browse the internet then?
Yeah, no, it's just the.
Or do you wanna bring up you wanna bring up the portfolio?
No, just the campus map, just to show them where people, or show them places.
There's a couple of things I did tomorrow on purpose, so I'm sure with you.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's-
But, we talked about doing current.
So I'm gonna briefly talk about events. We don't have anything like scheduled yet.
Yes.
Remember we talked about in the call?
Yeah,
Because I'm
exactly.
having
That's the time.
a group
consortium
many universities. Make it a little more flexible. And then, the projects. Okay. And then cool.
You might have to accept
Yeah. So I have that on here, but we don't have any dates
Yeah.
yet, right?
Not any.
Sometimes, you have to read the small print,
Yeah.
so you can survey,
Who would be
sometimes you know,
leading
I think it's
sometimes
gonna be
you need to put
But I think
just the, everything.
that's why I asked you, because that's not something that.
Yeah, and Jerome is the,
But it just. I
the
don't
nice
know.
thing about Jerome is you don't have to pre-register.
Yeah,
It's not
students
your-
already know what you're doing.
Because you just want to do your phone.
Yeah, then you
But
have
what the
branch
Jerome
Yeah,
is really is
Well,
a
right.
wireless solution.
the faculty research
Many,
presentation.
many universities around the world.
We didn't do it.
That's why
It'd be
people-
nice to do
that's
one in
why-
spring
yeah.
for
You know,
all
in
the
California,
different.
San Diego, I can log in with mine to my credentials. And Jerome's there.
And
Yeah,
yeah.
it was always
Or-
very.
Hopefully they'll
There
come.
were lots of people there. It was
Yeah, the last one we did was a year.
So that's what
No,
Jerome
we did it,
is.
we didn't do it last semester, but we did it
In the
before that.
spring.
Long
Yeah.
list of places. That's why you have to put
But it was
full
pretty
email
well
address.
attended.
I didn't go to that one,
Yeah.
but they usually are.
And very interesting.
The internet is mine. Yeah, same thing with your phone. You just put in your full email address for wireless. What are you doing with are you connected? Did you figure that out ahead of time?
And it's moving real slow.
That is why I saw that, I mean, this keeps popping off. And I even put it on a hard connection.
Kathy, you wanna move down here?
That was
So
what they were
you and
worried
Jack are
about.
gonna be doing that. So you can be on, she'll
No,
run
I
the
like where I
presenters
know
down
that.
this way, so I'll switch with Kathy.
Yeah, enough
Or
room
around
there?
the chair.
I just had to take them off.
Yeah.
All right, rest of my.
What about you? Austria? Good?
Very nice. We had snow. It was awesome. I haven't had snow for a few years now. Like the past years when I was in
When did
Austria,
that
it didn't snow.
happen? Because I
Did
thought
you
there
go
was no
home?
snow for the longest time.
Yeah, like we had snow actually when I got there. It had already snowed, and it snowed a few times during my time there. So it was
How cold is it though?
I'm curious to see how.
not that bad. Like it's in Celsius just -5 was I think the coldest, but most of the time it was just around freezing. So
Okay. 2000.
So you did go home?
yeah, I was first a week in New Mexico and then over New Year's. Santa Fe.
Oh, I've never been there, I wanna
It
go.
was
I'm
gorgeous.
going for Mardi Gras.
Oh
Good time, Santa
really?
Fe. Well, kind of everywhere. My sister lives in Albuquerque.
Oh, okay, I've never been, that's the one place I
Are you
want.
doing?
So we're probably gonna go to Santa Fe as well.
My boyfriend's family celebrate Christmas there. They're not from there, but they just
They
like
go here?
they just like Santa Fe.
Did you like it?
It was very beautiful.
Yeah,
It's
I
supposed
hear
to be
it's
wonderful.
great.
It was
As soon as
really
Jack
great.
comes back, I'm sorry. Oh, wait, Jack.
Did you do anything?
Webcam to work.
In Australia one day.
Did you stay in France? the whole
No,
time?
no, I was here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You didn't go home, you didn't go there.
I mean, we've been staying here.
Are you gonna do it? Do you have
It's
to-
easier. It's kind
We
of.
went to Ojo Caliente one day.
You did go.
That's what
It was wonderful.
So.
I
It was so great.
did lots of spas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did the King
you do
Spa in
the-
Dallas on the way,
Oh yeah.
and then we
true.
went down to Hayman's. Well, did the hot waters in Hayman Springs, which is another mountain.
Okay.
I didn't go to Oh, yeah, 'cause-
We
So there
usually
was
do
the whole family?
No, just my boyfriend and his sister plus her boyfriend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that was a little bit of relaxed time.
So I tell Jim.
Even though she's
How
very
cold was it walking in between the?
pretty cold. There was snow on the floor, like on the ground,
Right.
so I had brought my flippers, so I was fine. The others didn't, so
Did you drink the lithium water?
I did not.
Oh, so you
I went into the mud pool. It was fun. We have a mud pool.
Yeah,
Yeah, like the mud fountain, and then like you let it dry.
yeah, but that would be a little cold. I've only done that in the summer. In the
It
winter.
was cold. It was cold. So I didn't wait all the time. That it was.
Is all of us for Halloween?
And then there's another one, Lauren Messina, who's doing the program starting distance based. She was traveling today, so she couldn't join in. So yeah, it's the 6 of you for this spring.
Only women.
Yes, no men this time. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started for the rest of it.
Oh, you can take this off. Sheila, how do we get back to the?
You're here.
Oh, wait, sorry, you had my name on there, but. I'm
You're
not-
just sharing your desktop, so if you want to go back to the PowerPoint presentation, is that what you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
So just go to Control Tab.
I just have campus up. Campus.
Yeah, good.
You had you had it up.
Yeah,
It's-
for me.
That's what it's sharing. Is that what you want to share now, or you
I
want
think
to?
you want the PowerPoint.
No, I'm fine
Oh,
actually.
all right. We can keep the map up then.
Okay.
Let's see.
So should I start with PGSA?
Mhm.
Okay. Welcome back. So again, my name is Kati. I'm a PhD student here, and I'm with PGSA.
Wait.
Not yet.
It says connection is lost.
Okay. 1 minute.
Just want to make sure today's a day. No. I'm gonna put it low somehow. Valentina. She's Mara Tamara.
Got a mind block.
Valentina, can you hear us? Stop sharing for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear you. It was
Okay, we were getting a little message that we had got disconnected from the internet.
it's all good now. It was kind of fuzzy at first, but
Yeah, I heard that. When you're not, can you see that ability to mute your microphone? You have a little button that says mute. M-U-T. When you're not speaking, if you want to keep that muted, that'll eliminate some of the noise. But we were also getting a buzz.
all right.
Okay. Glad to know you're there.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, thanks. You have a lovely, lovely voice. All right, now that we get to hear it. All right, is this where you want to be?
I think the map was then for just in
That's for
one
me.
moment, yeah.
And
For
that's
now, like I don't have any PowerPoint or anything. So. Maybe the map, yeah.
Your email.
map is back.
Okay. Cool. So I'm gonna briefly talk about PGSA, which is the Payson Graduate Student Association. You're all automatically members of PGSA because you're Payson students. What we do is we organize some extracurricular activities like happy hours, or every now and then we'll do some excursion out of the city or something. And together with Payson, there are also some activities that are more relevant for academia. So, for instance, a library workshop or the IDCS, which are the International Development Colloquia Series. So, Professor Crawford has talked about that briefly, where Payson would invite speakers about topics that are just relevant for our studies. As of now, we don't have any events scheduled, but we are seeing if there's interest among you all or among students in general. We'll try to set up a library research workshop. There's somebody at the library, his name's David, I think. Adam, yeah. He's the one who's responsible for IDEF within the library. And he's a very nice and very helpful person. He would give us a workshop on how to use the library resources for studies here and how to use citation programs. The second thing that we are working on organizing together with Payson here, with Dauphine Sloan, is a career panel, a workshop. We're still trying to figure out what would be a nice format for that. That should happen also within the next month. So if you have any ideas on things that you would like to hear, or people you would like, or types of people you would be interested in talking to, please let us know. It would be very helpful to get your input on that. And the third thing is a faculty research presentation. We've done that in the past years, and it's been always very interesting. Where just Payson faculty and staff talk about the projects that they are working on currently, and also point them out, maybe opportunities to work with them. So in the interest of PGSA also, we would really like for you all to participate. So there will be an email probably this week being sent out for the first meeting. It's going to be most likely next week, Tuesday at 5, but we'll send out an email about it. If you would like to just get to know us or help us organize things and you're not available, like just come to the meeting. If you would like to join but you can't make it, just shoot us a brief email and we'll try to maybe switch the time. And it would be really nice to see you there. So yeah, I think that's it about events in PGSA from my side. I don't know if anybody wants to add something.
We have nice end of the semester events.
Yeah.
A picnic in the spring and usually rock and bowl in the fall. That's a fun place to go bowling and it's a party.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's one of the regular things. The other regular thing is there's one happy hour each month. That's typically at well, we've varied it a little bit now. It's either at the bar or at somebody's house. Somebody's hosting. So that's always fun to connect just to other students and faculty and staff. Yeah.
What's the email?
So my email is khamler, KHAMMLER @tulane.edu. My name's Kati again. So I'll probably be the one sending out most of the PGSA emails, but you might also get emails from other people.
And there's Mardi Gras opportunities. A few parades with other.
Yeah, that's probably also happening again. So we've tried last year to organize some type of viewing party at somebody's house. It was at Laura's house, which is very close to a parade route. So we just met there, had a few snacks and drinks, and then headed to the parade together. So that's probably happening again. Hope you'll join.
Just one thing, PGSA, the university cannot purchase alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So when they have these happy hours at the bars, you're responsible for your own drinks. They usually will.
Happy hours.
Yeah. But they usually will, depending on the place, if they have some food, they'll buy some snacks. But if it's at someone's house, then usually, everybody bring a bottle or whatever. So we try to make it as inexpensive as possible. Yeah.
But we do have a small budget for the year. We still have for the rest of the year about $3,000 left. Sorry. So if you have ideas of what you would like to do, things can happen. Yeah.
Conference something?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. So part of what we do with the budget is we have a very small scholarship fund, so to say, for if you would like to attend a conference or a workshop or anything that's relevant to your studies. We can help you with up to $100 for registration and traveling. We can't fund anything that gives you credit for school here, but just a conference, for instance. If you are interested in applying for that, please send an email to Sheila Favalora, and or to me. and we'll just talk about it in the next PGSA meeting. Like typically, you will, like I don't think we've ever not approved a request. Yeah. If you do apply for funding, we'll then ask you to write a short blog post on the Payson homepage in exchange for it, and we'll need, of course, the receipts just for accounting reasons.
All right, I'm up. I'm just going to talk a brief bit about the facilities and Tulane's campus and some important places and buildings you need to know. Obviously, we're here in Abear. We're located kind of on the front part of campus, or what we'd consider the front part of campus, which is on Gibson Quad. If you look up here, it's 7, right where the mouse is, over on the left. The other kind of key buildings you'll need to know, right here is the LBC, which is the student union. I know Sheila talked about getting your student IDs. The Card Services Center is located in the LBC. It's in Suite 107. Library, which is getting...
Excuse me, the bookstore is in the LBC.
The bookstore is also in the LBC,
The
yeah.
cafeteria and the food service.
There's a lot of food in there.
That's the student center, so
yeah, if you're planning on eating, food on campus, there's also Bruff, which is down here. They're moving Bruff to right by the LBC. That's going to be like a year or two in the future, though. Again, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but the library, which is under construction right now, you can still use it. They're just adding another floor to the top of it. That's up here, building number 60, right on Ferret. Again, do not park on Ferret. That will tow you. Let's see, the Student Health Center, which I know Sheila talked about if you had to clear up you had to register, but to register with the Student Health Center, that's right here on the corner of Willow and Newcomb. I've been there a few times. The people in there are really nice, and they'll help you get registered in a sec. The Riley Center is the student rec place that also Sheila touched on. It's not covered in your fees because we don't have any fees, but if you want, again, it's right over here, kind of towards the back end of campus. Just go in. Member services will take care of it if you want to get registered. They have a bunch of really good classes throughout the course of the semester. There's a ton of different offerings if you're interested in that, as well as just pretty much whatever you want to do if you need to work out.
Yeah,
There's the pool is awesome. It's also a saltwater pool, which is much nicer than the chlorine version. Uptown Square. Yeah, in the law school. The law school, which administratively we're a part of, and probably will have classes in there, is right down here. It's on Ferret. It's a nice big building. It's across the street from Loyola. You'll see Loyola's big parking garage and rec center. The law school is right across the street from that. None of our professors are there. Sometimes Colin's there, but very rarely.
But that's where we hold a lot of our events in the multi-purpose.
Yeah,
room and some of the other classrooms over there. So you need to know where that is.
And the last thing, Uptown Square, I know Sheila talked about it. It's down at the end of Broadway. Broadway is this street at the top of the map, and you just keep going that way. It's basically right at the end of Broadway. It kind of cuts off, but you'll see it. It says Uptown Square, and Tulane's logo is right there. You can't really miss it. Other things you need to know around campus. I showed you most of the buildings. We talked about shuttles. The blue line is the shuttle that runs from Uptown Square over to this campus. There are a bunch of other lines that, like the one out to Elmwood. There's one that runs downtown to the hospital and the School of Public Health and Tropical Medicine. There's one that runs all the way around Uptown, the Garden District, and one I think that runs out to Mid-City as well. That line, if you just Google or go onto Tulane's website and Google their shuttle services, they have a map. And they also have a little real-time GPS tracker so you can see where each one of those shuttles are. If you bike to campus, you do need to register your bike with Tulane Police. They have a little form. It's a new thing. I checked it. Yeah, I call it.
Well, officially you have to.
Officially you have to. Generally they don't really check.
They check because they'll take them away.
Yeah.
After a year, they'll cut them.
Only
Oh, yeah.
like,
Well,
but not
At the end of the,
on
if you
campus,
leave
I don't
them,
think that has anything to do with registration. I think that's if you leave them on
Yeah.
campus.
Yeah.
They're not
They
removed
do
by a
go
certain
around.
time, they cut the lock and they take them.
And they also
The-
auction them.
yes. So if you need a bike, Tulane Police and Loyola Police have a huge selection of bikes.
Did they take yours?
No,
Not yet.
A year and a half ago, I needed a bike.
Yeah, so if you need a bike for cheap, go to one of those two places. If you want to register your bike, public safety is right here. It's right by the Riley Center. It's at the bottom of the parking garage. Just
That
walk
would be
in.
where you'd have to park if you bought a permit to park.
Yeah.
And then go to your classes way up over here.
Yeah, that's where I was walking from.
Yeah, when they said you were paying the meter, we knew exactly where you were.
Let's see. I can talk about we talked about the food options in the LBC and Bruff. There is I guess it's still secret, the 24-hour diner, which is in the basement of
It's
Bruff.
actually 5 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Never mind. Almost 24 hours.
But overnight, so if you're late, you need late night food. That's
Yeah.
where you go.
Bottom in the basement of the LBC. There are a couple PJs around campus. One of them is in the bottom of Stern. If you would walk over the LBC, you'll walk right by it from here. There's also one on the corner of Willow and McAllister, kind of right by Riley. It's
And
nice.
one in the library.
And there's one in the library. It's good coffee. It's nice to know. There's a little deli at the bottom or in the basement of Richardson, which is a big hall kind of across from us in Gibson. They have really good food.
There's
They're open till
also
2. They're only
Loyola.
open till 2 though.
Yeah.
There's also Loyola campus, which you can reach just by walking through the gate. They have a huge food court too, with different options than Tulane. If you have cash on your splash card, you can even use that there to pay. So they're actually working together. So their food court is really good. It's actually better than Tulane's. So.
And they have gelato.
Come on.
And they have
It
gelato.
is.
And they have gelato.
And they have gelato, yeah.
They have gelato. There's a Starbucks over there too. Other things, we talked about discounts that you can get through eAcademy, through your software and everything. There is a FedEx office in the LBC for printing needs. That's really the best place to get any printing done. There's also printing at the library. You just need your splash card.
You'd have to put money on your splash card though. Tulane doesn't pay for your printing.
Right.
They put money on it in the library.
There's a machine. You can either do it at card services in the LBC, or there's a machine in the library where you can put cash on.
Can you do it online?
You can from your credit card. You can do it
through
online
Gibson.
too in your account, like in your
That has to be a MasterCard or an Amex. They don't take.
Yeah,
don't
they
take Visa.
only do credit cards and not all of them.
Yeah, and there's printing in Cud Hall, which is the hall right behind us. If you go out the back of, they have a walk-up print service
Oh, I
too.
didn't know that.
Yeah, it's closer.
Cool.
But you always pay per sheet.
Last couple things. If you ever get in trouble, Tulane has the Office of Legal Aid. Just contact them. Talk with the lawyer. If you ever need that, I highly doubt that that's the case.
They also have a notary service though, which I just found out.
Sorry?
A notary?
Notary.
Oh, that's in the
Mhm.
general counsel's
Yeah.
office.
Yeah.
That's,
Like
which
I didn't know
I
that. I
didn't
just
know
found
they-
that out.
I didn't know they opened it up to students.
Yeah, there's certain hours.
Okay, so they changed that, because it wasn't at one, up until
Yeah.
this time.
At least that's what they have on their homepage now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
general safety, I mean, Tulane has it has its own police department. I don't know exactly if you call them, but if you feel like you need an escort home or something.
So yeah, there are.
Contact them. The blue lights around campus are emergency things. And then one thing on here that now's not the time, but anybody from the New Orleans area, we have hurricane season, so come when it's time for y'all to come back in the fall, y'all are gonna get, or even before then, our hurricane plan. We have to share that with everybody. And it's basically listen to what the university says and get out of town when they tell you to go.
Mhm.
So, but we're here to help, with issues.
I have a few more remarks on the general safety point. So you will get emails from the Tulane police about crime alerts.
Right.
And you will see that there is actually a lot happening around campus. So you should be really careful at night. I personally feel safer biking than walking just because I'm faster on the bike, but you will see like even people just sitting in their cars get robbed. So it's you really should not feel too safe as soon as it's dark. So some things happen at like 7 p.m. or so. And there are several options actually. There's the escort service from the police. So that's really 24 hours if you don't feel safe. There's a number you can call. You can find it at the Tulane police homepage. And they will escort you home within 1 mile of campus. There's the Gold Line shuttle, which operates, I think, from 8 p.m. on every day, 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. or something like that. That will also take you home within 1 mile from campus, either to your residence or to your car if you're parked somewhere else. And there's the third option it's an app for your phone that's called Rave. And you can basically you activate it when you're leaving campus and you tell them where you're about to go. And once you get home, you would call again or deactivate it on the app. And if you don't do that, the police will follow up with you. So that's if you feel like you don't want to actually have a police walking next to you, but you would feel safer somebody knowing that you're about to go home, that might be a good option.
And crime spikes in the area, it's usually like at the beginning of the semester when you've got new students and they go down Maple Street where all the bars are. They come home late at night. They're waiting for them on the, because they know they're drinking and they're easy target. But you have to be very careful of your, we're not trying to scare you, but it's, you got to be careful.
Like nothing has ever happened to me, but things do happen.
Right.
So, yeah.
And they've happened around campus. Now, campus police has expanded their patrol area, but still, you need to be very careful and take precautions and use the services they provide.
Kind of piggybacking on those services, and we talked about those, just other rides other than the shuttles. Tulane they have their shuttles. There's an airport shuttle if you need to get to the airport. There's a car share that it's actually Tulane students that they do. What's the best way to describe it? It's not quite like Uber, but it's just, I don't remember the site, but you go on, you tell someone, or you ask if anyone needs a ride, or you request a ride, and a Tulane student who has a car, they share with like that. Uber isn't allowed in the city council.
Oh, really?
No, we don't have Uber in New Orleans. They're working on it, but
they have the Uber limo.
Do they?
They have some.
Okay.
They have one of them they allowed in the city.
Yeah, so the New Orleans City Council isn't really on board with Uber yet, and also another good service, cabs. United Cab is the biggest one. They offer the best service, so call them. They also don't want Uber, and they have a very strong union. So United the cabs don't really like Uber as well, but those are good resources if you need rides anywhere.
Can't the graduate, the Corrals in the library, they still have those?
Mm-hmm. You can go on the library homepage. There's a tab services, and then I think it's study, something like that. You can apply for a graduate student carol that's in a area of the library where you only have access if you have a carol, so it should be very quiet. It's a deposit of $25 that you get back once you give back your code or key, whatever you then get for entering the door. And I don't know how the wait list is now, but you might have to wait for somebody to give up their carol. I don't know, maybe now, because it's kind of in the middle of the semester, there are already some free. Yeah.
And then finally, Tulane, it has its regular university services that any university has. It has student services if you have any issues you need to have someone help you with, counseling, whatever. Even though we don't pay fees, you're still entitled to all of that. You have every right except the admission into the Student Recreation Center and the Student Health Center. Other than that, you can take advantage of any service that the university offers.
I want to still add one point to transportation. There's an unofficial bike help desk that's done by the Juggling Club. You can only find information about it on their Facebook page, but they have I don't know how often they do it now, either once a week or twice a week. They will be somewhere around campus. They post where they are, and they will help you with smaller bike repairs. Typically for free. If it's something bigger, they might appreciate a tip. But if you need help to change like a bike tube or I don't know, something like that, they're very nice.
You said the juggling club?
Mm-hmm. I think the Facebook page is just Tulane Bike Help Desk, but it's done by the Juggling Club for some reason.
We're mostly just talking about campus stuff right now, too.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm letting Valentina know.
And we're
leave.
basically finished. I was going to say, does
We're
anybody
kind of-
have any questions?
That car share site is actually through Tulane University Services. So if you go on there, and you can register with them.
And again, this was a quick overview, but we just wanted to kind of make you aware of things. We're here. One of you, and I don't remember who it was, wrote and kept saying, I'm sorry for so many emails. Guess what? That's my job, okay? If it weren't for you all, we wouldn't be here. So don't hesitate to let us know when you have any questions or need any help. And welcome again.
Thank you.
Have a great semester. And thank you all.
Okay, so that just
Sidebar.
I'm really confused about the econ class. So it's
I
not.
think I'm gonna stay. I'm running away.
What?
I'm sorry.
No. She's gonna set up a meeting, they're gonna have weekly meetings here. Yeah, face to
It's probably
face.
gonna be Monday nights.
Who's TA this semester?
We just have to.
She could have lost.
I'm
her
sorry,
JD.
Catherine Van
JBMS. Catherine Van Harper.
She's gonna TA for Sam. Sydney can't do it.
Laura, Valentina, do you have any questions? If you want to unmute your microphone.
Yeah, because she wanted to know how she should she didn't know whether she should take on Desio's class tonight, but then she's gone. Desio, he's gonna try to work with.
Because I can't do it on Tuesdays.
But he told me she had a concussion.
The way
She
that
just
I
told me
usually,
she had
Tuesdays is mandatory.
a car accident. I
Monday,
said, I
I
hope
think
you're
it's
okay. And she
optional,
didn't
because
like
I
that.
go optional. And when we're online, I'm sure it's in the tools, do you guys know which button you push to get to the thing? It's like,
Hi, everyone.
Doctor, something on Blackboard?
Bye.
Uh-huh.
I can tell you. I can show you. I just put it in his class. Do you want to look? If you want to look up here, hold on a second. Let me stop this recording.